Fox News alert on a jobless number we have not seen since President Bush was in office. The Labor Department saying unemployment rate has fallen to 7.4%. That is the lowest level since December '08, as U.S. employers add about 162,000 jobs in the month of July. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rick Fulbaum in for Bill Hemmer here.
That does appear to be good news, right? But digging deeper into the report, it was one of the only good signs. Americans are also seeing their hours and their pay drop, and that's not all.
Stuart Varney is host of Varney and Company on the Fox Business Network. And Stu, you hear that the jobs have been created, the unemployment rate goes down. How is that a bad thing?
Well, 162,000. And if you dig even deeper into this full report, you see some pretty shocking things. Number one, 240,000 people dropped out of the workforce. They just quit trying. That is how the unemployment rate came down to 7.4%. 250,000 people just dropped out. And then we have part-time work up by 174,000 to a record 28.2 million. There are 28 million people in America working part-time, and that number is rising. It's never been higher. Obamacare may have something to do with that.
Stu, the labor participation rate, I guess this is what you're talking about, the number of people who have dropped out of it, because it's only 63.4%, and that's the 19th consecutive month that number is below 64%. That number keeps shrinking. Why?
Yes, it's down from last month, and it's already at a generational low. It's people just walking away from the workforce. Now, there's a lot of retirees in that. Of course, the baby boomer people, they are retiring as we speak. That's cutting the size of the workforce, and the participation rate got that. But that's not the entire explanation. Awful lot of people going on to disability or just totally walking away from the workforce. The participation rate at a generational low.
You know, I think a lot of people are going to see this number today, and their first reaction is going to be, wow, this is pretty good. These numbers, the unemployment rate is as low as it's been in a number of years. But the real unemployment rate is something that a lot of economists look at, and that number is 14%.
Yes, now that actually is down. 14% down from 14.3%. So that's a glimmer of good news. This is the underemployment rate, or some people call it the real unemployment rate, and that has come down a tad. That's one of the few bright spots in this entire report. 162,000 new jobs in the month of July. Nowhere near good enough, nowhere near where it ought to be at this stage in a so-called recovery.
How do we expect the markets to react this morning, Stu?
That's a tough one, because a weak report might mean that Ben Bernanke keeps on printing money, in which case the market might go up. But a weak report signals that we're nowhere near out of the woods on the recession, so the market could go down. I'm not going to call it, Rick. I'm looking at the indicators now, and we're looking at a pretty flat open.
Stu Varney is the host of Varney and Company on FBN. Good to see you, Stu. Thanks so much.
And you too, Rick.
Well, that may have some impact on this, because this 21.6 million folks who are only 18 to 31 lived at home, and that is up from 18.5 million just before the recession. It's the highest share in the last 4 decades, and one factor that may be driving the trend is debt. You can imagine the average college graduate entering the real world with $27,000 worth of loans to pay off, at least.